and worrying about this redhead chick. He asked her out. He's like, yo, let's grab a cup of coffee sometime. And she overjoyfully says yes, and they start their life together. That is the true couple. Imagine these two hooking up in his room, and her father comes in, and he sees them, and he stumbles back. He's, oh shit, and runs. That's the greatest scene of all time right there. I get it. For Peter, she can't compare to Prime MJ, the popular girl who's always got a crush on. She's not that type.
I am not surprised.
She could be, you know, when the ugly girl turns pretty. I don't even want to say that because she's not ugly.
Round two.
Fight.
Don't flinch. I will write the final round.
Fight.
That's not what she is. This could be a moment of growth for Peter. He can stop doing this infantilization, fantasizing, romanticizing an image of a girl that he thinks he'll love, and he can actually allow himself to be with a girl who he knows can make him happy and that he can really love. That's the arc for Peter. That's such a better arc. And I get it. Ursula can't be like Prime MJ. She can be LeBron. It's a bad joke. All right. MJ fans are going to kill me in the comment section. I already know this. But look at her. She could be as pretty as Peter. Listen, Peter's always been into MJ. He's into the hot chicks, right? She can't be hot. Of course she can. She might not be as conventionally popular, attractive as MJ, but she's freaking gorgeous. Peter should have hooked up with her. That's the real couple. I know that Peter would be so happy with her. Fuck MJ. Let her cry about it. Let her go after some other high status man and never be happy. I wish her Mary Jane happiness. She's just not good for Peter. And Peter's not good for her, quite frankly, all right? Those are my thoughts on MJ. If you want to know how they should have fixed Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man with that third movie, that delving into why he stopped pulling his punches, Sony, get fucked. Watch this video here. Ladies and gentlemen, we are on a mission to take over Hollywood. If you want to suggest video topics to me or talk about your favorite movie theories with like-minded individuals in a community geared towards changing storytelling itself, join the free Discord now. The link is in the description below and probably in the comment section too. Join the Discord now. We're taking over Hollywood one Coke line at a time. See you on the other side.
Whenever I think about Sam Raimi's Spider-Man, I think about this scene.
You're taller than you look.
Hi, hunch.
Just these two kids about to graduate high school with their whole lives still ahead of them, standing on either side of a chain-link backyard fence and connected. Two people who have, in their own ways, felt invisible, seeing each other for the very.
Mary Jane Watson. The most stable, abusive gaslighter of the highest order. Today, we're not only going to explain how and why, we're also going to get to Peter Parker's true love interest that was taken and overshadowed because of her demonic indecence. I don't know where this video is, so I'm just going to make it clear to everyone. In case this video gets clipped, I put something. In case people say, who is this psychotic incel just at the thing? Talking about female characters, I love Lily, Brian's nervous, along the line of the so on the demos. I think he's going to be very good. But sometimes you have to speak the truth. There are some times that probably never shy away from talking about them. I think Felicity and Iris West should be hit by a truck. Mary Jane Watson, I think we can potentially the worst of all. And we have to speak about it. There's a good chance this video gets canonized. Alright? So, remember me as I am. And speaking the truth. Only one question remains for me. Is Mary Jane sociopath? I don't think so. I think she's a perpetual serial narcissist of the highest order, the 10th degree. She is siren the beautiful, voluptuous monsters that really remain to every man's wish fear. That is what she is on a spiritual level. I get it. I understand that therapy needs romantic tension. To go up, you need back and forth, you need drama. I understand this appeal. It's what makes great TV and movies. However, there's difference between the Mr. and Mrs. Smith tension that's fun to watch, and like the Lana Lang and it's just two pretty people who are bickering back and forth and back and forth, back and forth, back and forth with melodrama, for seasons upon seasons upon seasons, without any end in sight. That's what Mary Jane is going to talk about in the movie. I get it. Mary Jane Watson has never had a good adaptation on the live screen. A lot of people hated this. Hated this when I got to the video games, movie, whatever. Just a damsel in distress screaming half the time to a demon. That's what she is. Now, we have to address this about the Tobey Maguire Spider-Man movies. I love these movies to death, but they have an asshole character problem. Almost every character I see, besides Aunt May, is a douchebag. Starting from the bus driver who's laughing at Peter while he's running for the bus. What is this? You'd get fired immediately for doing something like that, bro. Harry, knowing his best friend is in love with MJ, but he still goes out with her without telling Harry. And then when Harry sees them, only then does he tell him about it. You got Peter, who's not only an asshole to his uncle, pure assholeness, all right? But he tries to take Harry's girlfriend from him. Tries to take MJ knowing that Harry's with her. What? This is some snake shit, okay? Why was this normalized so much in the 2000s? I know. Besides that, and 30-year-olds playing high schoolers. Norman Osborn seems to be like the coolest dude. Before Norman Osborn becomes evil, he seems like the nicest guy out of the entire cast of characters in this. But MJ, This woman's a problem. She's at the center of everything wrong with the character work in the Spider-Man movies. I love the Spider-Man movies, and I'll defend Spider-Man 3.
Immediately.
She's my childhood crush. She's the reason I love redheads. Every time I see a redhead, I know I'm feeling the way I do for this redhead because of Mary Jane Watson. To this day, I will die on this hill. Rihanna's best look was when she had red hair. This woman is a goddess. I feel like the yellow red hair is golden. I don't know what anyone says. But the problem is the person is shitty. It's shit. She's unstable. She's like radioactive. She's radioactive uranium gone red. Let's look at Spider-Man girlfriend system again. Gwen Stacy, perfect chemistry between her and Andrew Garfield. They had drama. So it's scoreful. There's another drama that formed because that's just good chemistry, right? Kristen Dunst, I told you right, I never put this together. I never saw it. From day one, I was like, these two things. I just started to realize something doesn't sit right about that. Say what you want about Zoe Gooding. A lot of people don't like her. All I always say is this: she's as supportive of Tom Holland's Peter as possible. If Spider-Man go and she's defending his head because like she's not trying to backtrack or cause drama or manipulate or gaslight or any of that shit. She's just a supportive girlfriend. That's what you need. This one. And Spider-Man. I should despise the man she loves. Right? We need to get to the character tracks, right? So she's like a big boyfriend, she's looking at me. You know this? She's cheating on all the. Let's look at Harry. I'm dying Harry Osborn. Guess what? All got together, she's making out with Spider-Man, being the popular, sexy superhero that's sitting around the city. She's making out with this dude in the rain while she's still with Harry. Her treatment of Harry is shite, by the way. I don't know if they've been broken to this point. I think it's probably worse. I think they got into a fight after the Norman Osborn Thanksgiving debacle. But regardless, you're working with Peter at the funeral of your ex-boyfriend's father? Why don't loved one just die? We are kissing him up while Harry's there. Harry's God's funeral. This is shit. This is disrespect of the highest order. Daniel Jones gets done so dirty. They're engaged, for God's sake, when she's hooking up a clean at our coffee shop trying to kiss him. Fighting with him every 2 seconds. She's still engaged to Daniel Gibbons, Elijah Michelson himself. And she's at coffee shops all the time. Trying to seduce him, for God's sake. This show is insane, by the way. From the wedding to go to Peter's embrace. In Peter's arms, mid-wedding. Peter's broken up with things. He's not sick. She said yes by all means. Everyone thinks this wedding's going to happen, and then she doesn't show up. So Peter's a husband for fuck's sake. This is saying really sucks. Really better. This is a cheater. I'm sorry. How did Peter not see this as the biggest red flag of all time? You're about to get married. Did you hear what the fuck? Look at this dude. This dude is just like a regular dude. He's bad. And she does this to him, man. What is this? 3. She's with Peter. Now, I understand. Peter was fucking around with Gwen Stacy. He gave her one kiss in front of everyone. Shouldn't have done that. Peter is a dumb fuck in Spider-Man 3. He's written like an idiot and a moron and an asshole before the symbiote even comes on him. He's an idiot in this film. Oh, just go get back up on the horse and... No, he's stupid. He's complacent in this film. He's written like an idiot. I don't really like the way a lot of these characters are written in these movies. But that's what he is. So can we blame her for wanting to cheat with Harry because she's feel vulnerable? Yes, I still can. Because why? It shows a pattern of behavior with her. When the going gets tough, she leaves, she cheats. She is unstable as a lover. Gaslighter. This is something that's even more prominent than the cheating. This woman, keep in mind, she deep down knows he's Spider-Man after they kiss at the funeral. When she kisses him, she has a realization. This is very familiar to me when I kissed Spider-Man in the rain. She knows deep down he's Spider-Man. It hasn't been fully confirmed to her until Spider-Man 2, but she knows it deep down. Keep this in mind, y'all. This is so important. Peter missing her play is like the equivalent of a nuclear bomb dropping on Hiroshima and Nagasaki. That's the consequences of it. She goes off on this man and they're not even dating. They're not even dating at this point, and she still goes crazy on this man for missing her plays. What the fuck? She wants him to see her play so badly. She needs his validation. Outside of the house, she's like feeling him up and shit. Blue balling the fuck out of him. She knows he wants her so badly. And then what does she do after? Oh, by the way, I'm seeing someone now. And it's kind of serious. What? What is this? What is it? She makes him feel guilty about not wanting to be with her. So she feels him up and then she tells him, oh, I'm seeing someone right now. She's making him feel like shit, systematically breaking him down in Spider-Man 2. When he leaves the job of Spider-Man, when he throws his mask into the dumpster, he sees her plays, he starts committing, he starts talking to her. Now she is with another man at this point. Peter should not have done this, but he's desperate at this one because he thinks this is my time to get her back, right? She makes him feel bad for it. She tells him, no, we can't be together. Then she's giving this dude looks while she's walking down the stairs, announcing the engagement with her new fiance. She's giving Peter looks. She's constantly looking at Peter, constantly giving him looks like, oh yeah, you can't have me. And then Peter comes at her. In one of the cringiest scenes I've ever seen in my life, he starts trying to recite the poetry. Day by day, he sided with passion. Day by day. Bro, I don't know how they wrote this scene. Goated though. She makes him look like a fool at the party, man. She says stuff like, I can't keep loving you or some shit. Like, it's so weird. Why are you saying this to this man at the party where your fiance is at, bro? She makes him feel bad about not being with her. That's the problem. She gaslights him, convinces him. And guess what she does now? She tries to kiss up Daniel Gillies, and she realizes, oh, this is not the same as kissing Spider-Man. Why? She doesn't know that's Peter Spider-Man, right? If you don't know that Peter Spider-Man, why are you kissing Daniel Gillies up while trying to get reminiscence of kissing Spider-Man, even though you have feelings for Peter? She knows deep down Peter is Spider-Man, y'all. And she does this, and when she realizes, oh, it's not the same, she goes on a fucking coffee date with Peter and makes him feel bad about not being with her yet again. She says, do you love me? He says, no. The right thing to do, that he should say, when, granted, she has a fiance at the time, this is what Peter should do. He should say, no, I don't love you. She's like, kiss me then if you don't love me. This chick is like a emotional dominatrix. She plays games with everyone until she's satisfied. And she's never satisfied. This is the thing with MJ. She's never truly satisfied. No matter, she'll get the Spider-Man, she'll get the Peter. Something's always wrong, and we're going to get to the extent of that. In Spider-Man 3, they're together. This woman is mad at Peter for being more popular than her. She gets envious of Spider-Man because people aren't paying attention to her plays, and she's walking out and seeing crowds cheering for Spider-Man. She's starting feeling insecure about her own career, so she projects it on Peter as if it's his fault and he's not supporting her, for fuck's sake. And this happens before Peter does any of the dumb shit he does, like kissing Gwen or getting the symbiote and hooking up with Gwen. This is before any of that. She's already having these feelings prior to any of that, and she's projecting it on him. Don't you love me? You're not there for me. It's the same shit. She's never satisfied, y'all, because it all is about her. It's always been about her from the get-go. She's a clout demon. Let's get into this. She dates the most popular dude in school, the jock, right? Flash. Breaks up with him, goes for the millionaire playboy son. Then she goes for the popular, clouded up superhero that is a badass and everyone wants to know, Spider-Man. Kisses him while she's with Harry, for fuck's sake. Now, she gives in to her feelings for Peter, the nerd, right? This is the one thing where I can give her some credit, because she finally, it wasn't about clout for her this time, it was about, Peter cares for me and he sees me. Granted, it's all about her because her selfish need for validation, but still, she goes for Peter. This isn't about clout, all right? Understand this. Peter leaves her. That's on him. So she hooks up with this dude, the famous astronaut, you know, the clouded up astronaut that all the girls want, right? It's a status climb for her. Keep this in mind. Now, she doesn't actually like any of the people she's with for status. That's the issue, right? She got with Harry. She never liked him. You could tell from the get-go she never liked him. She got with this dude. She doesn't really like him. She likes Peter, right? But she still doesn't, when she's with this dude, she doesn't leave him for Peter yet. She only leaves him for Peter on their marriage day when she finds out Peter is 100% confirmed to be Spider-Man, the superhero god of New York. She runs to him when she realizes this. This woman wants the highest status man in the room. She's a succubus of Satan. And it's all about her. It's what she wants. It's what she thinks will make her happy and accept herself. It all stems from her childhood abuse. Her dad She has a twisted relationship with her father, and that makes her feel guilt inside. It makes her feel worthless inside. So she needs an external sense of validation. Why? Because she hates herself. And what happens when she hates herself? She projects that hatred onto her lover, Peter, or Spider-Man. Both and it comes out via envy or insecurity or whatnot. She's never fulfilled because there's a problem seated within her that Peter cannot solve. This is also part on Peter. He never loved her. He spent most of his years loving her from afar next door, fantasizing the idea of her. The idea of her is what he loved, not her. When he got with her, he gets with her thinking he's in love with her because this is the girl he's always had a crush on. When they're actually together, Peter starts becoming complacent. He doesn't even show that much interest in her in Spider-Man 3, but yet he's proposing because he thinks it's the right thing to do. In his mind, he's propped her up all these years to be this person. He's never really loved her, and she only loves herself. She only wants to love herself despite hating herself, so she needs validation to feed herself, to feed her ego, for fuck's sake. So here's the thing. What if she did marry this dude? And never got with Peter at the end. What if all this could be fixed by just not having her and Peter get together? You think Peter would be depressed, but he wouldn't be out of options, for fuck's sake. I mean, look at all the women around him. You got Betty at the Daily Bugle. I swear to God, I would risk it all for her. If this woman was looking at me like this, it'd be over. I'd have a kid with her every single year. It'd be a baby factory. We'd never leave the bedroom. Betty also is played by Angourie Rice in Tom Holland's Spider-Man trilogy. There is a deleted clip between these two having an interview from No Way Home when his identity is revealed. These two have more chemistry than him and Zendaya. In this 20-second clip alone, they should have gotten together. The problem is they fucking put her with Ned. I get it. It's a funny little stupid couple thing. I wish they hadn't done that. Deserve to be Gwen Stacy. I like that. I like a lot. I think she has a much better personality, more likable personality than MJ. I think she'd be a lot of fun to hang out with. I like her a lot. But for me, there's only one true Gwen Stacy, and I don't want to fuck around with that. So now, there is the real soul. Here's how Spider-Man 2 should have ended. It shouldn't have ended with them getting back together. The hero died. That's it. He should have called it once. You cannot be together afterwards. It's just a thing. After all the pain and suffering you caused each other, you and Harry fought over this woman for goodness sake. You need to respect his honor, respect his memory by not doing it. So it should have ended with Peter telling her, we're not compatible. We just can't do it. We caused each other too much pain. It's better than we together. Now, 1 year later, maybe Peter's broken up in his apartment somewhere. I don't know. Peter's not doing the greatest. Big speaks for it. The sneaky girl that he should have been in. Let's see. The guy with the remote. He sees her and he's looking around. What about the green stuff? What about this red chick? He walks along. It's a kid. This guy had a couple conversations. Those are Gregory says yes. They start their life together. That is the two couples. Imagine these two hooking up when he's doing and her father comes in, and he sees him, and he stumbles back, he's oh shit, and runs. That's the greatest thing in the country. I get it. For Peter, she can put that Peter's always got a crush on him, right? She's not that archetype. She could be, you know, when the ugly girl turns pretty. I don't even want to say that because she's not ugly. That's not what she is. This could be a moment of growth for Peter. He can stop doing this infantilization, fantasizing, romanticizing women of the girl that he thinks he loves, and he can actually allow himself to be the girl who he knows can make him happy that he can really love. That's the art for Peter. That's such a better art. And I get it. First, you have to be like, that's it's about it. MJ fans are like 2 million times said Tanari news. But she could be as pretty as Peter. Listen, Peter's always been against the giving to the heart to trick. She can't be hot. Of course she can't. She might not be as conventionally popular, attractive as MJ, but she's freaking gorgeous. Peter should have hooked up with her. That's the real couple. I know that Peter would be so happy with her. Fuck MJ. Let her cry about it. Let her go after some other high status man and never be happy. I wish her Mary Jane happiness. She's just not good for Peter. And Peter's not good for her, quite frankly, all right? Those are my thoughts on MJ. If you want to know how they should have fixed Andrew Garfield's Spider-Man with that third movie, that delving into why he stopped pulling his punches, Sony, get fucked. Watch this video here, ladies and gentlemen. We are on a mission to take over Hollywood. If you want to suggest video topics to me, or talk about your favorite movie theories with like-minded individuals in a community geared towards changing storytelling itself, join the free Discord now. The link is in the description below and probably in the comment section too. Join the Discord now. We're taking over Hollywood one coke line at a time. See you on the other side.
Whenever I think about Sam Raimi's Spider-Man, I think about this scene.
You're taller than you look.
Just these two kids about to graduate high school with their whole lives still ahead of them, standing on either side of a chain-link backyard fence and connected. Two people who have, in their own ways, felt invisible, seeing each other for the very first time. It's not the first time they've interacted in the movie, but it's the first time they've truly seen one another, not just the simplified image of each other that they have. MJ isn't just the most popular girl in school, she's someone with dreams and passions of her own, a desire to act, afraid of showing people who she really is and the kind of life she comes from. And Peter isn't just a weird nerd, he's a sweet, supportive person who is willing to take those dreams and passions seriously. It's so simple, so stripped down, no crazy camera moves, nothing more than two people talking in a series of shot reverse shots, and it's just so human, man. I don't want to be that guy, but damn it, you just don't get stuff like this anymore in superhero movies. This kind of quiet moment today couldn't go without some silly Tony Stark-esque quip or some kind of self-deprecating remark about how corny this dialogue sounds or some other kind of wink at the audience because it's not confident enough in itself to play the moment straight. It's a scene defined by a total and complete sincerity, an honesty that isn't concerned with how it will be perceived, but only with being unapologetically itself. And that sincerity not only defines this scene, not only defines this first Spider-Man movie, but defines this entire trilogy. These are stories about people struggling to be sincere, neglecting to live their truths for various reasons, and the consequences that arise from failing to live honestly. And that's what I want to talk about today. I want to go through each of these films in turn, look at all of these characters and what they're going through, to try and understand what this trilogy is trying to say about sincerity, and why I think it matters as much today as it did back in 2002 when it all started. And where better to start than there, in 2002, with the very first. Peter Parker doesn't know who he is. What's the first thing Peter says in the entire movie?
Who am I?
See? Dude's clueless. At the very beginning, through Peter's opening narration, this story is set up as one of identity, a story that will explain who Peter Parker is. And in that opening narration, we get a key piece of information about Peter's identity.
I'd like to tell you that's me next to her. Heck, I'd even take him.
Whoever Peter is, it's not someone he wants to be. He's the kid chasing the school bus while everyone on it, including the bus driver, is laughing at him. And when he gets on the bus, not a single person will let him sit next to them. Nobody wants anything to do with this 26-year-old high schooler. He's pretty much invisible to the girl he likes, and this one friend is also an outcast that nobody likes, and who's also jealous of the affection shown by his father to Peter. By all accounts, it's not a great situation. In these first 10 or so minutes, every last piece of who Peter is defined by how others see him or don't see him. His entire life is built on what he doesn't have, the kind of person he isn't. He isn't popular, he isn't strong, he doesn't have spiky hair. The one thing that could maybe define himself by is his intelligence, something that Harry's father, Norman, reminds him.
You know, I'm something with a scientist myself.
But that's not something that anyone around him really cares about, and as such, it's not something that Peter really takes any pride in. Peter's one concern is how he's perceived by others, whether or not other people consider who he is to be worthwhile. When he beats up Flash, he's smiling about it, he's proud of himself, until someone calls him a freak, and then his smile drops and he runs away. One of his first thoughts of what to do with his newfound powers is to win a wrestling competition to get money for a car, to do what else but impress Mary Jane. He relishes the cheers and the glory that comes with beating Randy Bonesaw Savage, and when his Uncle Ben, someone he doesn't need to impress, someone who accepts him as he is, wants to connect with him and understand what he's going through, he pushes him away. He's so focused on what he's trying to gain, what he's trying to earn, that he refuses to see what he has.
And I know I'm not your father.
Then stop pretending to be.
And of course, we know how that ends. Peter doesn't get paid properly for the fight. The guy gets robbed, and Peter lets the culprit go because
I missed the part where that's my problem.
and that same culprit goes on to shoot Uncle Ben, who dies holding Peter's hand, leaving their last true interaction as Peter's rejection of what Ben was trying to teach him.
With great power, with great responsibility.
And it's only through that Peter finds his way to understanding what he needs to be and what he really needs to do with this power he's been given. But we still don't know who Peter is. Peter still doesn't know who Peter is. Because while what Peter is doing now is certainly more constructive than what he was doing before, he's still defining himself based on something external. He's just moved from trying to impress people at school to trying to make up for what he did to Uncle Ben. He's still defining himself by what he isn't and what he didn't do. And the best way to understand where Peter's arc goes from here is to understand the man who challenges Uncle Ben's words, the man who forces Peter to consider what it really means for great power to come with great responsibility. The villains in these movies are as comic booky as they come. They're over the top and menacing and at times even ridiculous. They are unashamed of their origins, the foundations on which they were built. These villains feel like they could just as easily be in a comic book from the 60s. And yet what Raimi and his screenwriters bring to these villains is a sense of emotional realness. And I think out of all the trilogy's villains, that's no more true than with Norman Osborn, the Green Goblin. The first time we meet Norman Osborn, he's talking to his son, Harry. Harry tells his father that he doesn't want to show up to a public school field trip in an expensive car, and Norman responds with a total dismissal.
You want me to trade in my car for a Jetta just because you flunked out of every private school I ever sent you to?
In Norman's very first appearance in the movie, nearly his first line, we see him use his son's discomfort to shame him for not living up to his standards. And he says something else that I find interesting.
Don't ever be ashamed of who you are.
I think the irony is clear. Telling his son to be unashamed immediately after shaming him, refusing to listen to what Harry has to say, but still trying to play like he cares. And I think that sort of duality defines Norman as a character, most apparently in the way that he dresses up in a goblin suit and turns people into skeletons. Because the Green Goblin isn't an alternate personality. He's not a different version of Norman Osborn, but a different side of him. An aspect of him that Norman has pushed so far down that he can't even recognize it as himself. The Green Goblin is unmitigated anger, frustration, violence, and destruction aimed towards a world that's seeking now to tear him down. The very first thing he does as the Goblin is kill the scientist who wants to hold him back, endangering his entire business. He kills the soldiers who wanted to cut his funding. He kills the board members who want to fire him and sell the company as a direct result of his actions as the Goblin, I might add. Everything the Green Goblin does in the first half of this movie is a direct response to bad things happening to Norman Osborn. A response to everything he's done, everything he's sacrificed being in vain.
You know how much I sacrificed?
But when the Green Goblin first shows himself to Norman, Norman looks afraid of that reflection in the mirror, and the Goblin tells him what he's here for.
Say what you want, to do what you can't, to remove those in your way.
The Green Goblin is something deep down inside of him, this desire to destroy those things he can't control, to make his sacrifices worthwhile, to prove that he lived his life exactly the way he was supposed to live it. He won't hear anything else, won't accept anything else. Just look at the way he treats his own son. He actively pulls Harry away from any kind of truth about his father by keeping him feeling lesser. He makes Harry feel like his love is all that's worth trying to earn by keeping his affection sparse and usually with a snide remark to undercut it.
You made it. It's not the first time I've been proven wrong.
And the one time Norman shows him any significant attention or love is only when Harry tells him he's right about Peter and MJ betraying him, that he was right about everything. Only when Harry gives himself totally over to his father does his father deign to hug him. It's textbook emotional manipulation and abuse. Norman uses love like a weapon in order to keep his son under his control, to always have somebody who will be behind him no matter what.
Creep is my father. All right, if I'm lucky, I'll become half of what he is.
This is what love looks like. Uncritical and unwavering devotion, proof that he did everything right, things that the rest of the world isn't giving him. He dedicated his entire life to his business, sacrificed his relationship with his son for it, sacrificed his moral integrity for it, and he was supposed to be rewarded for that. He was supposed to succeed as a reward for that kind of dedication. That's how life is supposed to work, and yet here his life is falling apart. And I think the Green Goblin isn't just Norman's vengeance towards those who would get in the way, as much as it's Norman's frustration with himself externalized towards these other people trying to push him out. He doesn't want the problem to be that he's wasted his life attaining something so fragile as wealth and power in society. He wants it to be these people who are ruining him, disallowing him of what he's owed, all he's earned. The Goblin's goal is to justify Norman's decisions, justify his selfishness and his cynicism by proving not only that acting out of pure self-interest works in helping to get him what he wants, but that in the end, deep down, this is what everyone is really like. When put in the right circumstances, everyone is just as cynical and selfish as he is. He's the only one who knows the truth.
Which is why he chooses not to kill Spider-Man initially, to try and prove him to worship his. He basically tells Spider-Man his entire philosophy, what he believes about him.
The only thing they love me than hero is to see a hero fail.
It's really not anything done without actually. The Goblin world, Norman's worldview, is built on the idea that not only will people inevitably turn on their heroes, but that their admiration is the one and only reason to be doing this in the first place. The only reason to help people, the only reason to be a hero is to be loved by the people you save. And if they will eventually not love you anymore, there's no reason to help them at all. And as such, you should only ever do things for yourself. Peter rejects that. His simple response to why he does this being because it's wrong, but then it's immediately shown to you right after that the Goblin was, in some respect, correct. It obviously hurts his actions in this character. These police want to arrest him. The Goblin continues to hurt people to try and get to him. Is this really the way of the hero? Is this what it means to try and do good? Is this what people really think of them? But in the midst of all that, there's someone else. After that, read something from the Green Goblin. After Peter worries about the beat returning, he turns the company face. Listen, I'm not here to say that we're not directly bringing the DJ that we're on date. I'm pretty sure she spent about 25% of her screen time in these movies screaming. But let me not be the first to say that there's a lot more to the character. MJ's actually doing something very similar to Peter. She's just as concerned with how others perceive her, just as concerned with how she acts, how she looks, whether or not it's filling the correct role in someone else's life, rather than trying to understand herself and what she really needs. It's kind of fitting that she wants to happen on stage, because that's all life has been. Stage where she says the lines she's been given. But there's a simple thing that happens in this wonderful scene of already mentioned in the backyard. It sets her down to I think something clicks here, something real. There's something about
Leave me alone!
Omni-Man. Ghostface. Bravado. Scorpion. The Hourglass. What's your favorite scary movie?
Fuck movies.
Nothing beats a good book. Round one. Fight.
the man who was trained by ninjas but stopped fighting like one. If this clan of warriors trained Nolan's Batman, not only would he look like an actual fighter, he would never lose a single fight again. I know this video is going to piss everyone off. Everyone's going to want my head on the plate, especially Nolan fans tend to piss people off in my videos. I am a Batman fan. I am a Nolan Batman fan. I do think The Dark Knight trilogy is one of the best ever. It has an argument for being the best ever. The Dark Knight itself is my favorite movie of all time, god damn it. A lot of people hate that about me because they think I should have higher standards of film, but I don't care. I don't care. Yes, a superhero movie is my favorite movie of all time. It's goated. I don't give a shit. However, I think it's okay to acknowledge that the fights in these movies are not the best. They leave a lot to be desired from Batman fans, from comic book fans and martial arts fans, from fight fans in general. It's mid. Now, I don't like the fact that Captain America and heroes in Marvel are having better fights and looking more like fighters, more like ninjas than Batman. Something about that leaves a bad taste in my mouth. It doesn't sit right with me. And I love Cap. Why? Let's start with Batman Begins. This probably had the best choreography of the trilogy when it comes to Batman and his fighting. It delves into his ninja training in the first place, fighting multiple people, throwing kicks. He actually looks like a ninja. The problem is, you can barely see what's happening because of the way it's edited. Nolan didn't perfect his style of filming action scenes in Batman Begins, and he wanted to give it a visceral take, like you don't know what's happening because Batman is a ninja. You don't want to see what's happening. You want to instill the fear. So we don't actually get to see Batman's fighting prowess truly on display. The Dark Knight had a good balance between choreography and filming because all the camera work was actually done to perfection in The Dark Knight. But you don't get many fights. The Dark Knight itself has the least amount of fights in the trilogy. It has cool action sequences, but the fights last for a amount of time. You don't really get to see Batman in his full glory in these fights. He has cool fights at the club against Joker's thugs and all that, but you don't really get to see a true Batman. Then Dark Knight Rises. Yikes. Great filmed fights. No quick cuts, no shaky cam, none of that bullshit, but the fight choreography, a lot of people thought that these two looked like drunken brawlers. Look at that, look. That's Batman throwing open loop punches at Bane. And Bane, of course, is tanking all of them. There's zero technique being used in these fights at the time. Why? Now, some could say, oh, Bruce Wayne hasn't been Batman in 8 years prior to this film, right? So it makes sense that he's not as good of a fighter as he was. I get that. But we've seen fighters that have retired, and they come back and they still have fundamentals. They still know how to throw a jab, retract your punch, squeeze the lats, don't open the punch and drop your guard with zero defense. Why is Batman not? And I get it. Christian Bale himself is not a real fighter, so Batman himself is not going to look like that much of a fighter, right? But still, why is the stunt team looking like drunken brawlers? And you can say, okay, Batman hasn't been bad in a while. What about Bane and his men? Bane's an ex-League of Assassin member. It's said in the movie that some of his men are highly trained, and some of them are ex-League of Shadows themselves. They all fight like hooligans, random thugs, supposed to be trained by the best ninjas on the planet. Now, I understand Bane. His character is meant to be pure strength and rage. He's built like a funky bloke. He's meant to lift things up and tear them apart. He's not all technique. And apparently he doesn't feel that much pain because of the gas in his mask, right? So I understand him, but the rest of his men, him and Batman have no technique at all. It's not that. Oh, okay. They won't fight like ninjas now because of the context of the scenes in the film and the story. There's zero technique. They're amateurs of the highest order in this fight. Now, some could say, okay, the style that Batman employs in these movies is because of realism. Okay, let's take a look at it. Nolan wanted to do tactical fighting rather than fancy spinning 360 roundhouse kick and Jackie Chan level kung fu shit. I get it. Take it from me. I'm a real-life vigilante. I fight people on you. I fight Hollywood, and I fight on the streets. I don't win all my fights. In fact, if you need to take security footage of me on the streets, it looks like I'm getting my ass kicked, even though I'm not. It's all everyone's still coming. I know what works in a street fight and what doesn't. I know what happens in a fight. I know better than freaking Nolan does. And I'm going to tell you right now, Nolan employed 2 martial arts. Ninjutsu, which Batman is trained by a league that uses weapons, melee weapons, swords, all that. So ninjutsu is one of his fight styles, but also they use basic fighting method. They actually incorporated this martial arts practice in their choreography. Here's the thing about Casey fighting method. Take it from somebody who's a real vigilante and has fought and knows how to fight to a degree. That's just what. When you see displays of Casey fighting method, it looks best when it's done on a skilled opponent. You can say this about a lot of martial arts, right? That aren't used practically in fights. This is not a fighting style that any vigilante or ninja would ever use. It's very close quarters, right? It's designed to use everything in your body, elbows, headbutts, all that. Ab method is, it works only on a skilled opponent. This is not the ideal fight style that any fighter would ever use ever. And it won't work well if you're using weapons. It's not a fighting style that you can mix and incorporate weapons with. I know they can show instances of that with sticks fighting and all that, but this guy's using batarangs, grappling hooks, for God's sakes. Casey fighting method is not going to help you. Now, the other thing is, okay, he's using the style because of his armor. It's very bulky. He has limited range of motion, so he can't do crazy kicks and all that. He needs something that's energy efficient, that takes up less time to do. I understand that. Casey fighting method is not the one you use, bro. Why would you use that instead of a more practical blend of martial arts? Here's one. If he wants to use kicks and elbows in short bursts without having to do crazy roundhouse kicks, use Muay Thai. Muay Thai is your thing. Who would even say? Boxing. A blend of Muay Thai and boxing. Muay Thai covers the kicks and elbows. Boxing. Energy efficiency. Footwork, cardio. If you master boxing, you can engage multiple opponents and use your footwork, jab, counter, all that stuff. You'll be very good with your hands. You'll have very fast hands and fast footwork. You'll be able to maneuver yourself around opponents very, very well. There's a reason why Daredevil, despite being very acrobatic in his fights, his principal style is boxing. Not only for the storytelling element, because yes, his dad was a boxer and passed it down to him, but boxing is very energy efficient as a fight style. He knows realistically it's one of the main things that you can use against an opponent. Because human beings we're not built to box. It takes a lot of energy. We're built to grab onto each other, right? So if you're a fucking boxer who can defend grappling and throw hands at you're beyond many people in fighting. Fight all together using a grappling practice that's quick, like judo. You're not gonna see Batman getting extended wrestling sessions with multiple opponents. Ooh, let's see Batman shoot a double leg on Bane. No, fuck no. He needs to throw and toss his opponents quick and move on to the next one. That is it. Those are the three martial arts: Muay Thai, boxing, judo. If you have a blend of those work. And remember, Batman in the comics mastered hundreds of styles of fighting. For a more realistic Batman, a blend of three good ones is better than a half-assed attempt at Casey fighting method. Something that I haven't seen Casey fighting method be relevant since the Batman Begins first came out for a reason, okay? I know there's going to be some Casey fighting method practitioners in the comments who are going to kill me for saying this. I think I'm right, and my experience says so, okay? Now, here's the other thing. Ninjas. Would any of these martial arts be employed by an assassin organization of ninjas that use blades and weapons and all that stuff? Here's the thing. Batman could still be a good ninja if he was trained by actual ninjas. The League of Assassins have issues escaping a goddamn fire in their temple that explodes. They're getting their ass whooped by regular thugs half the time in Dark Knight Rises, right? These are not the best ninjas in the world. And it's funny to me how Bruce Wayne, to stop himself from killing somebody, Ra's al Ghul, he blows up an entire temple, possibly killing multiple people. Maybe he just trusted that the ninjas would get out, okay? But here's the thing. There's a real League of Assassins in another film, that a real ninja clan that if they train Bruce, not only would he look like a real fighter, he'd be unstoppable. Have any of y'all seen Ninja Assassin? A masterclass in stylized violence. Similar story. A young man is trained by Ninja Clan, trained to even take over the clan. He betrays them, he leaves them because he doesn't want to do something that they're forcing him to do, killing somebody. And they also happen to kill the love of his life and all that. But regardless, it's a very similar story to Bruce Wayne's. Groomed to be the leader. Then the last minute thwarts them and then there's a war between him and them. The ninjas in this movie are brutal. They're cutting off hands with single swoops. Heads are getting cut off. People are getting cut in half for God's sake. They're using chains wrapped in knives to kill people. Their style is meant to kill. It's meant to kill brutally. So you could say, oh, I don't know if Batman would do well with this style since Batman ain't trying to kill anyone. But the League of Assassins, we're all killers. Bruce Wayne's style is supposed to be lethal, but he just holds back at the end, which requires a crazy amount of skill to do, by the way. Now, Ninja Assassins, is this exactly a realistic plan? Would this usually work for Nolan's Batman? Well, here's the thing. Are they supernatural? Well, they do stuff like meditation, which can heal wounds. Their meditation heals wounds instantly. It's crazy. They are faster than Flash at times. They're like teleporting in shadows and speeding behind you. It seems all supernatural, but it's all optics and illusion. It's inferred that there's some superhuman element, mostly in their conditioning. These people are doing handstands on nails. They're practicing their speed. They're fighting blindfolded for fuck's sake. They don't play around. And they use the shadows in a more terrifying way than I've ever seen Batman use.
Back of the line.
You don't even know they're there. And when they sprout out, it's like they're demons. That's the thing. When they use shadows, it's like they're part of the shadow. This is theatricality and deception at its worst and most scary state. This is why I've always said, if we don't want to see Batman utilize all these fancy martial arts techniques,
you need to go in your own fucking party, nigga. Your own fucking server.
Your pussy ass troll, ragged ass. I do think that having Muay Thai boxing is good for us to watch on screen because we want to see an elongated fight. Realistically, it'd be stealth-based martial arts fighting. That's the system he would use, and the Ninja Assassin clan would make him unstoppable. Instead, that's literally Eddie versus Dean. They're getting into one of the worst boxing matches I've ever seen in my life. These are not real fighters. You can tell, and I get it. No one on his team are not like UFC fighters. But they needed to do some extra due diligence with this. The Casey fighting method was not ending, and this is the worst use of the Casey fighting method I've ever seen. I would give Zack Snyder and Batman vs Superman all the shit in the world. I think that's a very horribly flawed movie. I think Zack Snyder is an idiot, and if he's ever involved in the writer's room, the film is going to shit. However, I will give him this. That warehouse fight scene with Batman had the perfect blend of ninjutsu, a brawler who's using physical strength to just throw people around over, and Muay Thai. Alright, he's using kicks, elbows, all that shit. This is what Batman should do. Even if this isn't the most realistic, this is like a fantastical god like Batman, right? No one needs to do this. Alright? Ninja Assassin, watch it if you haven't seen it. It's a fucking fun-ass movie. It's not the best movie in the world. This is action. It's CGI blood everywhere. If you want to know what the true ending of Dark Knight Rises almost was and what that movie could be, for potentially a better ending to that film, watch this video here. Ladies and gentlemen, we are on a mission to take over Hollywood. If you want to suggest video topics to me, or talk about your favorite movie theories with like-minded individuals in a community geared towards changing storytelling itself, join the free Discord. Now, the link is in the description below and probably in the comment section too. Join the Discord now. We're taking over Hollywood one coke line at a time. See you on the other side. There were multiple concepts for the third Dark Knight film, and initially, most of them involved him in some capacity. After Heath Ledger's death, things changed, perhaps caused the writers' team to adjust and rush out a storyline that we got. Perhaps we could use what we know to fix the ending of Dark Knight Rises. I am by no means saying that the story we got was bad. I'm not saying that at all. I love Dark Knight Rises. Do I think it's the weakest of the trilogy personally? Yes, I do. I think both Batman Begins and Dark Knight are much better. However, this movie still drives more emotion within me. It speaks to my soul more than 99% of movies we get from Hollywood nowadays. I can't even deny that.
Of course.
Let's get through this story. You saw it. Look at that movie of the Dark Knight. The Joker is going to be one of the Dark Knight. The Dark Knight Rises, they flip the story that is flipping to the Dark Knight, basically everything's trying to go for it. It's the journey of this side to that Dark Knight Rises. This is what it's doing. What colors of the people's feeling, and it's kind of an extended run of this essentially, the Joker is like talking about all this stuff that Lane has some shit. And it's just taking all of his arguments. Remember, everybody's clear as just at the same that's what I'm doing. You're not thinking about the fucking person. You're not thinking about the community. This part of the condition is the right side of the right one to explain to me. This is testing the central one of the community to the so it can be a single way to he's facing a court trial or he has one of his thugs do it. Regardless, so I don't know what it is. But this is how Harvey Dent would have turned. This is how they would have extended that storyline of Harvey Dent turning into the Dark Knight. Instead of getting burned in an explosion that kills Rachel, he witnesses Rachel dying, and then in his anger and his wrath towards the Joker struck the fuck with him at the court until this culmination event happens. And then we see Harvey Dent of Mary does Two-Face. He's going to take down the system. He's seen what the Joker managed to do to him, and he sees how flawed the system is because the Joker's pretty much demonstrated it to him multiple times. So now he's going to take it all down. He's releasing criminals left and right, Batman's entire rogues gallery. This is basically the main point. This is essentially the main plot point behind the Dark Knight Rises original story. This is what it would have been. Now, after the Dark Knight was made, obviously this would have disappeared completely because Harvey Dent's dead now, right? He's already become Two-Face in the third act of Dark Knight. So the trial of the Joker is still apparent, but more thematically than exactly what it was before. David S. Goyer has said Joker would have played a very small role. He would have appeared, all right? He would have been one of these guys that was let out of prison when Bane is going on his riot and having prisoners getting let out, right? He would have been in the film in some capacity as a cameo. Now, there's fans speculated Bane would see Joker as the last remaining person in Blackgate or wherever and choose not to let him out because he's like, no, I'm not fucking with this guy. Let him in. That's what a lot of fans speculate would happen, but no, I don't think so. I think Joker would realistically take the Scarecrow's place as the judge in that little trial. So we do get a Joker's trial, but not like we did before. This time Joker's running things, and he has Batman's entire rogue gallery as a jury. We got Victor Zsasz, Jim Gordon's detective buddy, who was corrupt. We get Scarecrow. We get multiple villains, some we haven't seen before, as the jury, and they're sending people to exile or killing them or giving them death sentences. Joker would be leading the fold here. Now, fans speculated. Do you think Nolan would have allowed Joker to become the trigger man? Would Bane have given Joker the trigger instead of Talia al Ghul so he could be the one to nuke the city? Would he be the one testing Batman saying, oh yeah, but Batman beats the shit out of Bane, Joker reveals himself as a trigger man. Maybe he stole the trigger from one of Bane's men. Bane does not want Joker. There's no way Bane is allowing someone like Joker to have that trigger. He's just too fucking unstable and unpredictable, right? So Joker reveals himself to be the one with the trigger, and he says, listen, bro, I won't nuke the city, but you gotta kill me, or you gotta kill Bane. You just beat the shit out of Bane, kill him now, and I won't nuke the city. Now, this would all be a bluff, because there's no way Joker would even want to blow up the city realistically. It would kill all the fun for him. Bane wants to blow up the city to prove a point, right? Bane's a brainwashed cult terrorist, basically. Joker is an agent of chaos, wants fun. Blowing up the city, there is too much chaos. Even Joker knows there's a balance in speech. He wants entertainment, right? The Joker wouldn't do this. It would all be a bluff. But I don't think Nolan would have allowed Joker to come in and steal the shine of the main villain of the movie, Bane. I think that would have been too much, even for Nolan. There was also, Nolan fought with Warner Brothers to kill Batman. Nolan wanted Batman to do a self-sacrificing die, straight up. So, taking what we know, what we just witnessed, how could we fix the Dark Knight Rises ending? Can we? Can we? It all should be. Well, here's the thing. We need to understand this right now. We're gonna assume Heath Ledger's dead. Joker can come back. And you know what? To be honest, it makes sense. Joker would never be in Gotham. He's not gonna be in Blackgate. He's gonna be in some crazy supermax prison outside of Gotham, awaiting the needle, awaiting the death penalty. He killed mayors, judges, cops. There's no way this man is going to be allowed to live after that. He's got the death penalty on him. So it makes sense he's not in Gotham, but that doesn't mean we can't fix things. That doesn't mean we can use those scripts to fix this. Talia al Ghul needs to be removed from this story. I've never liked her character. She seems forced in. Her twist comes from a mile away. You can see it. She's not a compelling character to me at all. She kind of ruins Bane's aura. Oh no, but her relationship with Bane adds depth to Bane. It makes Bane pathetic. Bane is a worse at the end of this movie. The nuclear bomb is a stupid idea. I never liked this idea. Oh, we're going to nuke Gotham. We're just going to nuke the city. The League of Shadows always seemed to me as like an organization that systematically destroys a city or society from the inside out. And they rats into Rome, destabilize it, and then replace the leadership completely, right? They economically destroy Gotham first. They try to economically destroy it and turn the city on itself, right? In this one, it's just like a dumb old, oh, we're going to blow everything up. Each everyone, including ourselves. It just seems very dumb, and I get it. First, I was like, it seems kind of out of character to lose. But taking into account that this dude has never wanted to be Batman, and in Dark Knight, this dude was ready to give it all up for Rachel. I don't know why, but Rachel really? That's it. That's what his character was. So I like the fact that Batman has only been Batman for like Batman Begins and then Dark Knight, which is what, 3-4 years culminating. If you total that up, I feel like that's just a couple years, and then 8 years he's done, and then he just comes back for a couple weeks in the Dark Knight Rises. No, I don't want it to be an 8-year stint between Dark Knight and Dark Knight Rises. Let's cut that in half to 4 years. I don't think the League of Assassins would wait literally 8 years, almost a decade, to come to Gotham and do their shit. No, this is 4 years later. Okay, Bane is not going to be trying to use a nuke to blow up the city and let out all these prisoners and declare martial law and say, hey, you're all free now, but you're going to be blown up in about a month, by the way. So do whatever you want. No, that's stupid. No, he's going to lock down the city like he did, blow up all the entrance points, tell the military, hey, listen, if you come in, we're blowing it all up. But the goal is not to blow up Gotham. That's like a last resort thing, and there's no nuke involved. The goal is to tear it down from the inside, release the prisoners, have the poor eat the rich, have society turn on itself, and have the city eat itself while you sit back and watch. That should be Bane's goal. This is no man's land, essentially. So the prisoners are let out. We're not doing this thing where Ra's al Ghul could be the father of Bane because Bane saw it in a vision, in a dream randomly, and said, oh, it's Bane's father. Even though this is a dream, it could mean absolutely nothing. It could be random. Stupid-ass contrived plot. Batman's going to be in the pit. Meanwhile, Gordon and the cops are in no man's land. This is like the no man's land comic, right? Gotham is hell here. They're fighting against every version of demon that's let out of prison. Every villain. So it's bad. The cops are getting destroyed. We're not going to do the thing where all the police are funneled underground because the idiots in the movie decided, oh, let's send all our cops down to the tunnels. Yeah, you're just setting them up to get destroyed. No, they're all going to war with the criminals. Meanwhile, Bane and his people tell the military from outside, the National Guard, you come in, if anyone comes in and out of this no man's land, we're blowing it up. We have explosives all around the city. We're blowing it all up. So keep that in mind. Now, the military can't let anyone. Meanwhile, Bruce is stuck in the pit. So Bruce, we're going to do the same shit. Bruce rises up, he climbs, blah, blah, blah. Now, how does Bruce get back to Gotham? This is one of the biggest plot holes that people like to bring up. Well, this is a very easy fix, in my opinion. Bane has men. He owns the prison. He has his men being guards to the prison. His men guard the prisons to make sure nobody gets out. Because remember, Bane is all he says in the movie, I prayed them hope is poison their soul. When people finally rise up in a certain time and he can finally find out, they get left with a choice because his guards are there watching it 24/7. So, how does Bane do? Is that safe? He gets up. Maybe the bats help him. The bats come out of the hole in the wall. Whereas if they think the attack with the guard or some shit, and Bruce is maxing his shield back so he's able to escape and disarm the guards. I don't know how you do that. Bruce really found a way to disarm the guards. These guards obviously access to some kind of transportation vessel, whether it's a car that fits into an injector or some shit, some helicopter that Bane even, if they use reinforcements or even the fleet plan out last minute, you can rely on them. They all have a contact with each other, so they all know what's the best way to get out of this country. Of course, Bruce is going to kick the shit out of one of them and say, yo, take me to the nearest train and go there. That's what he's going to say. So, at least we get back into the city, clean up transportation vehicles. The problem is you got the soldiers there who are walking anymore coming in and out because, remember, coming in and out, they didn't blow up the city. So, Bruce, he fights them. He gets to these fight the soldiers, and one of the soldiers telling him that they fight the whole city. And telling him, go, we can't let you in. So, Bruce speaks to Sharon, and he goes, here's the path of this group towards civilians. This is the key. This is so key. We should have spent way more time on this stuff, and less time on figuring out how to these riders going to write this thing on a bridge wall. Okay? So this gets back in the city. He gets to just talk. So they both get the back. Shit. But this is getting like this. It makes sense that Lucius will have more than one seat available to use at this point, okay? And this time you're going to have a real or similar to the comics. If no, there is the section you see. Because he's even about here. Bruce is about inspiring hope. He's about inspiring hope to the people so they can fight back against no man's land. That's the art here, guys. Say, they start releasing people so that they can escape through and pass that to the kingdom of Bruce when you get to the military, right? Really begins. Bruce. Really, this is Batman. They're not going to fight that way with all these other guys. I want their final fight to be as intimate as the first fight was. So Bruce could use his bat trip to come in and follow them, and maybe they go and make their way to the rooftop and they rendezvous over there. And then they have their fun. And I want Bruce to. When Bruce eventually wins and beats the sheriff, I want him to display Bane in front of the city where all eyes can see. Just like we're going to get the Bruce and break the back and lay the Bruce for the city to see. He tells Bane he's broken, bro. The Calvinist go and find out that the day after long is going to the area where we got him. It's about God next week. So someone who's going to die, well, once the heartbeat drops completely, everything just feels about how we're going to see it. So, he tells Bruce this. Batman's repeating the sheriff being like, who's the trigger man? Who Bane swings his arms today? It also seems that Batman is beating on him, but Batman won't kill him. So he wants to die. Right? Because his last resort is the twist of the music. He is the trigger man, right? He is the one that if his heart stops, everything goes back. If everything goes wrong with him.
Oh, whatever, bitch!
Batman's going to kill him. Bane has been Bane at this point when he's already up there and he's
lucky, nigga.
But he won't. Bane's shit. But his backup plan is he gets one of the snipers back up. Shoot him. So that all the bombs can blow up. The dead man switch is triggered. So the guy shoots him, but Batman tries to cover him, save him. Both him and Bane get shot. Alright? So both are bleeding out. Bane's not dead, but he got shot in the chest. He's bleeding out badly. Plus his mask is all going berserk now too. So his heartbeat's going all crazy. So they don't have a lot of time now. Bane is about to die. Once he dies, everything blows up sky high. So the goal is, Blake, all the detectives, all the cops are trying to funnel as many people and evacuate the city so they can leave. But Gotham must be evacuated. There's no saving the city because there's no way to beat the dead man switch. It's already triggered. Nothing can stop it. And the explosives are everywhere. You can't take one bomb and leave the city now. It's multiple explosives everywhere. There's no simple way to solve this issue. You just have to wait for the inevitable. So, the time is running out. They are evacuating the city. Meanwhile, Bane has all his men, or all his men. So all of them start shooting at Bane. So basically, the League is now trying to blow everyone up, including themselves. So, Batman has to take a weakened Bane, lift him, run out of there, get the fuck out of there as fast as possible, and basically buy them enough time to have everyone in the city evacuated while all of Bane's men chase him. And Batman has to fight them all off while saving the man who's trying to destroy the city, Bane. Bane's too weak to do anything, so Batman's able to carry him, but Batman has to fight off all of Bane's men. This is like that hallway fight with Daredevil when he's fighting against the bikers and saving Punisher, right? He tells Catwoman and Gordon, take my Batwing, take that plane that I used to get here, take everything we can, and get as many people, all the cops that are remaining, out of here. I'll stay here with Bane, hold them off, Me and Bane are too weakened to get on those planes right now. This guy's dying left and right, and I need to find a way to resuscitate him and get that heartbeat stable. I don't have time to get on the ship. You guys take as many people as you can and leave. So Batman's making the ultimate self-sacrifice. So Catwoman kisses him, they all leave, and basically it's Bane and Batman. Batman's locked them into some room, some vault in a building. People are shooting at them from the outside. Batman and Bane are just there sitting there, wounded, bloody. Bane's like, he was never really one of us. Bane is realizing Batman is not like them. He's not an assassin. He won't even kill. Bane's like, you're too weak to do what's necessary. And Batman's like, I am doing what's necessary. I'll never kill. Me not killing you is going to save my city. Your entire organization's mission, your philosophy is broken because of what I've done. But Bane is like taunting him, right? So Batman looks out in the city. As the countdown goes, Bane dies. Then you just see the city getting fucking blown to bits. The city's blown up. Everyone thinks Batman's dead. This basically is like the end of Thor Ragnarok, where Asgard's destroyed, and the theme is Asgard's not a place, it's a people, right? That's essentially what's happening here. So Gotham is destroyed. Years later, they have to rebuild. We have a funeral for Batman. They idealize Batman. Bruce Wayne gets a funeral. Blake gets a message to his fucking address. He goes under that road. The Batcave is completing that because he was all on the ground. He sees the Batcave. His real name is not Robin. That's stupid as hell. His real name is either going to be Dick Grayson or Terry McGinnis. This going to be one of them. He's Batman Beyond or Nightwing. He's not going to be fucking Robin. And maybe we get to see Alfred at the cafe series. I don't know how Bruce will survive. He'll take a better screenwriter than me to figure that out. We put clues and Easter eggs there as how he did it. We'll figure it out. Regardless, it's a thought he found a way. He found a way. He fled on the ground as soon as Bane died. I don't know what happened. Maybe he does that. I would kill Bruce Wayne if I had. If he made sacrificing himself for Gotham City, I would go there. I'd be fine with killing Bruce Wayne. If we wanted to have his happy ending with Anna Hathaway, he needs to back that, right? So we can figure out a way. But that's how I would do it. I wouldn't do any of this parallel goal, nuclear bomb nonsense shit. Alright? If you want to know how we could have saved Amazing Spider-Man, the Amazing Spider-Man follow-up that we never got, that's figuring it out. Ladies and gentlemen, we are on a mission to take over Hollywood. If you want to suggest video topics to me, or talk about your favorite movie clues with like-minded individuals in a community geared towards changing storytelling itself, join the free Discord now. The link is in the description below and probably in the comment section too. Join the Discord now. We're taking over Hollywood one coke line at a time. See you on the other side. Disclaimer. This video contains spoilers for Big Day. Are you all set? Fantastic. And here we go. Batman Begins and wowed both critics and audiences with its stark new take on the Caped Crusader. With critics even saying that it was the first time they really managed to connect with Bruce Wayne on the big screen. But despite the critical success, the fact that the movie wasn't a runaway financial success left prospects for a sequel up in the air. Even Christopher Nolan wasn't sure if he was going to come back. He wasn't sure what story he would tell in the second movie, despite placing a tease of the Joker at the end of movie 1. But the fan base was practically begging for a sequel, for a continuation of this version of Batman. Plenty of questions hit the internet, but Batman fans were left in limbo, left to merely speculate about what the sequel might hold. Will Christopher Nolan continue his Batman story? Will Batman Begins get a sequel? And perhaps most importantly of all, who is going to play the Joker? This final question rocked the internet the year following the release of Batman Begins, as plenty of rumors spread out across message boards and news articles of potential actors who might take on the part. Tons upon tons of names hit the internet, from Johnny Depp to Crispin Glover, Paul Bettany, Tim Roth, Adrian Brody, and even Mark Hamill, who had of course been the voice of the Joker for years. Later on, rumors would spread about Robin Williams potentially taking on Batman's most fearsome friend. But as interesting as these ideas were, and despite them drumming up a lot of conversation in the year after Batman Begins, none of them would come true. In fact, the name that finally emerged was one that fans and audiences never would have anticipated. Because on July 20th, 2006, articles and message boards were filled with one simple message. Heath Ledger had been cast as the Joker, and fans across the internet hated this. The reception to this news was almost entirely negative. Fans just couldn't see Heath Ledger taking on the clown prince of crime. Excitement began to sink to the bottom of their stomachs.
Just play the game,
Batman Begins was just a fluke. Maybe they wouldn't catch lightning in a bottle a second time. But there were some who were more hopeful. There had, of course, been other comic book movie roles that were filled by completely unpredictable actors just fine. So perhaps Heath Ledger, known for Brokeback Mountain and Knight's Tale, could surprise audiences and deliver a great performance. Christopher Nolan, of course, had complete faith in Heath Ledger. In fact, Heath Ledger's name was in the ring for the role of Batman in the first movie, but the actor had no real interest in taking on the movie. But after the release of Batman Begins and with critical acclaim, Heath Ledger saw what Christopher Nolan was going for, and he himself asked if there was a spot for him in the film sequel. After early conversations between the two hit the time came to make the news official. And despite the early negative buzz, fans became willing to wait it out, interested to see where this partnership could lead. And all of this led to the official announcement of the sequel to Batman Begins. Up to this point, the movie was made up of smoke and mirrors, but now it was confirmed. Christopher Nolan was back to direct the sequel. Christian Bale was confirmed to return as Batman, and Michael Caine was confirmed to return as his trusty butler, Alfred. This time around, Batman Begins screenwriter David S. Goyer would only be in charge of the story, working directly with Christopher Nolan. But after that, the screenplay duties were taken up by Christopher Nolan and his brother Jonathan. Together, like they had done with Memento and The Prestige, they worked with the story by David S. Goyer and tell the next chapter of this Batman's life. The next chapter that was also given a title. Just a huge week for Batman fans all around. And it's a title that would break from the conventions of all of the previous Batman movies, because for the first time, the word Batman would not be in the film's title. Instead, the movie will be called The Dark Knight. Obviously in reference to one of Batman's many monsters. And with the film officially slated for release on July 18, 2008, the machine began to get moving as audience anticipation really began to grow. As it turned out, the Joker wouldn't be the only adversary that Batman would face in his second movie. Just like Batman Begins, the Caped Crusader was going to go up against a couple of his famed rogues gallery. While there were plenty of rumors for potential actors that would take on the Penguin, those slowly fizzled out as audiences realized that the Penguin wasn't going to be in the movie. But a character who was going to be in the movie without question was Harvey Dent, Gotham's district attorney who would eventually evolve into supervillain Two-Face. Though most publications stated that the Two-Face side of the character wouldn't be seen until the third movie, there still needed to be someone to fill Harvey Dent's shoes in movie 2. Plenty of actors' names were on the ring for Harvey Dent, such as Jude Law, Lee Schreiber, Josh Lucas, and even some fans pined for the return of Billy D. Williams, who played the character back in Tim Burton's first Batman movie in 1989. But ultimately, none of these actors would take on the role, as audiences would learn as the clock turned to the year 2007. Because it was here that it was announced that Aaron Eckhart would take on Gotham's district attorney, with plenty of press and interviews about whether or not he'd actually be seen as Two-Face during the second movie's runtime. Meanwhile, as the year got underway, it was confirmed that while Gary Oldman and Morgan Freeman would return for the sequel, there was one actor that would not be back for round 2, and that was Katie Holmes. Around the release of Batman Begins, there was a lot of press surrounding Katie Holmes and Tom Cruise, and it was reported that Warner Brothers believed this to hinder Batman's box office performance. Katie Holmes' performance as Rachel Dawes was also a common criticism of the movie, and it was also reported that Tom Cruise pulled her out of the sequel for this very reason, or at least an adjacent reason. Regardless of the true madness that happened behind the scenes, Katie Holmes was out, and someone else needed to be in to continue the story
story of Rachel Dawes in The Dark Knight. The rumor mill got to work with plenty of names floating around like Rachel McAdams and Emily Blunt, until eventually it was Maggie Gyllenhaal who took on the role. Both of these casting announcements were met with positive reception, and they were eventually joined by newcomers Eric Roberts, Nestor Carbonell, and others, all of which led to the start of principal photography on April 13th, 2007, where the cast and crew would unite in Chicago to film the highly anticipated sequel. With cameras now rolling, fans began to peer across the internet to find any glimpse they could of the upcoming movie. Most specifically, they wanted to catch a glimpse of one character in particular. They wanted to know what the Joker was going to look like. Obviously, Heath Ledger's casting was controversial, but the first big test was to see how he was going to look in costume. And while fans would ultimately get a first look at the new Joker, it didn't quite come the way they expected. As fans would soon discover, The Dark Knight would have a bit of fun with his promotional efforts, leading to a year-long worldwide alternate reality game, or ARG. The team behind The Dark Knight enlisted the help of 42 Entertainment to create a viral marketing campaign, and they were responsible for the I Love Bees viral marketing campaign for Halo 2. And this campaign would be something that would drip feed information to eager-eyed fans who carefully planted clues across the world. Things began with the official launch of the website TheDarkKnight.com, which featured nothing more than the dot symbol on the front page. But it didn't take long for people to realize that if you clicked on the symbol, you'd be redirected to IBelieveInHarveyDent.com, featuring a campaign banner for the one and only Harvey Dent, as played by Aaron Eckhart. But that wasn't the only thing, as a comic book store employee in Southern California discovered that Joker cards had been found across the shop, featuring the phrase, "I believe in Harvey Dent too," which quickly led people to the website bearing the same name. It was almost the same as the previous Harvey Dent website, but this time it was defaced by the Joker. And at the bottom of this page was an email submission form. For those that submitted their email, they participate in the next phase of the review, entering a single X and Y coordinate. That might not seem like much, but with each coordinate that was entered, a pixel on the defaced Harvey Dent image would change. And after enough emails were registered, enough coordinates entered, finally the entire image was changed to reveal the first ever look at Heath Ledger as the Joker. A lot of the press leading up to this promised that the Joker was going to be scarier and a lot more intimidating than he had been in some previous iterations. And if this image was anything to go by, it looked like they were on the right track. But the image was only online for a short amount of time, as suddenly the website was left almost entirely blank, save for "page not found" hidden in the corner. But fans soon found out a little more under the surface, discovering blacked out text that revealed the Joker's hysterical laugh across the entire screen, complete with various letters that didn't fit with the larger laughing idea. Assembling these letters completed the phrase, "See you in December," promising fans that this campaign would continue, and that there'd be more to uncover as the months went on. But the Joker wasn't the only character that fans would catch a glimpse of as filming continued, as eventually Warner Brothers released the first new photo of Batman, revealing that the Caped Crusader would take on an upgraded look after Batman Begins. It looked high-tech, it looked sleek, and perhaps most importantly, it looked like Batman would finally be able to turn his head. Now ain't that a fun thing? And all of this came in conjunction with the announcement that The Dark Knight would film select sequences with IMAX cameras. In fact, The Dark Knight was reported to be the first ever feature film to use IMAX cameras. While the advent of 3D was slowly beginning to creep its way back into public consciousness, Christopher Nolan was instead going to focus his attention on IMAX, the biggest screens around. And he was going to use the biggest cameras for select sequences to maximize the use of these enormous screens. But the exact specifics on what would be in these scenes is a little hard to come by. As like the first movie before it, the crew of The Dark Knight took great pains to make sure that as much of the movie was kept behind closed doors as possible. Obviously, the big action moments outside would be caught by onlookers, with even the scarce set photo revealing better looks of the Joker. The production was keeping itself as tight as possible, but that didn't mean that Warner Brothers wasn't still drip-feeding information to fans across the internet, especially at the end of July when Comic-Con came roaring around. While The Dark Knight had no actual presence at the event, with no panel of any kind, Warner Brothers still managed to make this one of the most talked-about movies during the entire weekend, thanks in large part to the continuing viral marketing campaign. Across the entire convention, Jokerized $1 bills were found as part of the convention's currency, like actual dollar bills that were being traded around, just Jokerized. These dollar bills led to the latest website, WhySoSerious.com, which featured a vandalized Uncle Sam with a countdown and a meeting place outside of the convention center for what the Joker referred to as tryouts. For those who were following along, they united at the designated location at the right time. They looked to the sky, and they would find a phone number written directly above them. And when this number was called, fans would hear a voicemail from a hostage, no doubt being kept by the Joker himself. This hostage would give them the next clue in bad trouble. This phrase could then be entered back into the Why So Serious website, leading fans to realize that this was only the entry point into a much larger event. Across the day, the attendees at Comic-Con were taken on a merry chase around the area to follow the Joker's clues, to uncover his secrets. This involved further riddles, further locations, and even meeting one of Joker's representatives, giving him the correct password, then taking on the task of painting their faces in the image of the Joker, becoming his latest followers. For every clue, a new challenge, a new location, but none of it was in vain. At one step of the process, fans were suddenly treated with an all-new official image from the movie, a picture of the Joker threatening Rachel Dawes with a knife. But that was merely a taste, because upon finally completing all of the Joker's challenges, following his entire scavenger hunt across the area, fans were given a great gift to reward them for their struggles. Because on the second day of Comic-Con,